agree, like Nick Cannon and his spreading of his seed?
100%. I agree with him 1,000%.
Go on.
He's rich. He's responsible.
Is he?
Yes, he takes care of every one of those children.
But this is the problem.
And the baby mothers with it. And they hurt for nothing and they live comfortably.
You guys think that just having kids and giving money is enough. But what about the time? No.
He's there for every one of them. I got 9. And I'm there for every one of mine.
So every single time you're at every single recital?
No, that's a white man's thing. Who gives a fuck about a recital? Listen, my job is to raise my kids.
No, but this is...
Hold on.
Go
to
on.
be responsible.
Yeah.
To be understanding. To protect their mother. To, to give hand with their father and assist with family planning. And to be responsible adults.
Okay, but what about
my job ain't to be doing all that extra stuff, all these holidays. If I have the time to do that and show love, yes, I will do that. But my responsibility is to make sure that they grow up responsible, strong.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Omomi, aka Petite Diva, and this video is inspired by the podcast interview that Cam Newton and Nick Cannon had with Dr. Bryant. Recently, Cam Newton and Nick Cannon had a sit down with Dr. Bryant. I believe Dr. Bryant is a therapist. Now, in the podcast interviews, Dr. Bryant was trying to analyze the reason behind Cam Newton and Nick Cannon thinking that having multiple women and multiple children is okay. Now, for those who don't know, Cam Newton has 8 children, and in the podcast he was talking about the fact that he wanted more. Now, Nick Cannon has about 12 the last time I checked, and she just wanted to make them realize that having multiple women and multiple kids is not really ideal, not only for the women, but for the kids. And she was trying to analyze and make them aware of why they feel the need to have multiple kids with multiple women. Now, Nick Cannon and Cam Newton are not the only rich men that I've noticed that are having multiple kids. Now, Elon Musk is one. I recently found out that he has maybe like 11 kids or something. And I'm like, wow. Anyway, here are clips of the podcast that Nick Cannon and Cam Newton had with Dr. Bryant.
I understand a lot of people see my situation and not think that I'm not high function.
What situation?
See my situation? That's a very vague question, and it's for you
what
to...
What situation are you referring to that they're looking at and thinking is not high function?
Just my life.
Your life entirely, or your life in relationships?
My life.
See, don't deflect. Let's stay here. Your life entirely, or your life in relationships?
Both, really.
And they think that you're low functioning?
No, I don't.
You just said people see your life and think you're not high functioning. The opposite of that would be low functioning.
No. Okay, so here you go. You're trying to take my intentions away from this. Is can I correct it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Or can I give you more?
Yes, more information. Heck yeah.
So, I'm not married, right? I have beautiful children.
How many?
8.
I didn't do my research. I thought it was 4, but 8. Okay.
No, baby.
Cool.
It's
by how
8.
many women?
3. And this is the kicker. I want more. Now.
By multiple women? What's the intent?
I just want God
about your wife?
I just want God to bring them.
Oh, okay. And you have, so you just...
Because my point is this. My desire to get married is lower than my fear of divorce. So, as you had said, Dr. Bryant, you said it, I didn't say it, I will agree. I'm just taking my time.
You're not taking your time.
I am, though.
You're being very action-based. You're not taking your time. You're being very action-based.
I'm taking my time.
You're being very action-based. You have 8 kids with 3 different women.
Yes.
You are creating, procreating, and multiplying. That is not taking your time. You're being very selectively active. Okay? So you're creating, and disclaimer, the kids are innocent. They are beautiful and amazing. Anything I say has nothing to do with them babies, because I can't wait to be a mom, and I love the kids, period. But you are proactively choosing where you want to be active at and where you want to take your time. You want to take your time in having a wife because of your own fears. But you will, and I say this with all respect and love, what I'm about to say next, okay, Cam? But you will selfishly create broken families, even if you're in their life and you're a proactive father, and I believe you're an amazing daddy. I can only imagine with just your presence and knowing you thus far. But these families are still broken. every child cannot have Papa in the house with them. So some child, if not all will end up with some kind of deficit without Daddy being there. Now, you chose to do that. I'm not saying you sat there and woke up one morning and said, I want to be selfish today, so I'm going to go make a baby. Not saying that at all. But those are selfish acts at the expense of your fear. So at what point do you feel the fear, do it anyways? And yeah, that is a low functioning behavior. To say that I am going to create these homes. Oh, let me go better. I'm going to build these houses and put kids and these beautiful women and kids in them, but I ain't going to create a home in them. I'm going to wait till I dissipate my fear to find a wife where I'm still going to be fearful with, because there's no such thing as not having some type of nerve or some type of feeling behind marrying somebody who you're spending your life with. And then I'm going to build a home with her while all these other beautiful babies have houses. That's completely unfair and it's selfish.
Just tell me when I can solve.
Yeah, almost. That's completely unfair and that's selfish. And so, yes, you're taking your time in this department, but you're not taking your time in this department, which means you're compartmentalizing. And compartmentalizing never works. Compartmentalizing hurts everybody involved. Everybody who's in this box and that box and this box and that box and this box. And then here you go over here trying to figure out what box you're going to feed or entertain or do. Then you're looking outside to figure out who's your next victim to put in the box. It's unhealthy. And it's a huge dysfunction within our Black community that I truly believe personally, statistically, mental health-wise, and community-wise, that Black men would stop.
Black men will what?
Stop doing that, that they would stop that dysfunctional behavior of compartmentalizing and creating houses, not homes, and then finally a home with the wife. And then you have all these other houses that are homeless, but you over here at some point when you do get a wife, if you do, I'm saying if that's what you want, you will, you'll get whatever you want. You're trying to create a home. Totally dysfunctional and extremely, that's the epitome of selfish. Epitome of selfish. I'm done.
So therefore, I have dealt with some people that balance me and are equally yoked. And at times, have I been manipulative and prey on certain things? Yes, because I'm a man.
Right.
And
but not all men do that. We don't want to blanket all men.
And
all
I will take
men do
advantage.
not prey and manipulate. Not all men.
First of all humans prey and manipulate. But in a man in a relationship,
not in a praying way. Not in a praying way.
If I see that I can say, okay, I feel like I need this and this person has this, I'm going to do and say whatever I need to do to get that.
But Nick, with all due respect, seriously, to all the women that you've encountered, ladies, I'm saying this, the reason why it's worked for you is because you have chosen and to prey on low-functioning women who don't have the emotional intelligence. No, I'm going there, who will allow you to do that, Nick. And when I say allow, it's not a control thing. When I say allow, I'm not saying that she sits across you and says, this is what you won't do, you're crossing a boundary. Nick.
I disagree. I don't know if it's the Libra in me, if it's my abandonment issues as a child. I'm quick to be like, we agree to disagree, so I'm out. I'll run, I'll detach, I'll act like, I'll shut down, I'll internalize. And I know that's not healthy, but just as a man, to stay away from conflict with any woman in my life, I'll just be like, we agree to disagree. Yeah. You can have that.
I wanted to focus on my career and get something going for myself. And then I ended up pregnant with Kashmir. And then that's when I went through a public breakup, and that was that. And then me and my partner, we separated. So I'm a single mom of five. 5 kids later, people always ask, oh, why are you, like, what happened with your marriage? Or like, why you're not in a relationship? And I always say I was never married, but the relationship, I thought it was going towards marriage. And then my partner at the time had an outside baby. And he kind of wanted to force it on me, and I wasn't really ready to, I mean, I don't really know how to describe this or talk about this. He had a baby outside of our relationship that I was not okay with. And we were not married, so I'm like, I'm not about to deal with this, because I thought what we had was something way more special than the way you're treating it. And I felt like I had no choice but to leave. I had to choose me and my kids over what he was about to put me through. So
now the podcast episodes are long. They're about 2 hours long, so you can check them out. What I just put up are mini clips of what they said. You can always find the full video and watch it completely. Now, people had things to say about the podcast that Nick Cannon and Cam Newton did with Dr. Brian.
I used to believe that Audacity was on sale, but I've now come to the conclusion that Audacity must be free, and that's why so many men have it. Because for Cam Newton to sit out there in front of the whole world and say, while having a girlfriend who just had his baby, that he's still looking for God to send him a wife. Can you imagine curling up next to a man every single night and he told the world, I'm still looking? The most obvious sign that she is a placeholder is not going to change his mind. This is what I mean when I say the men already know. He knew a long time ago. He knew before he got her pregnant. He'll allow you to derail whatever you had going on in your life so that they can use you to pass the time. They use you as a hobby, as something to do. He's got 8 kids by 3 different women and talking about he wants 3 more. So a woman's supposed to step in and all of a sudden take on 11 stepkids? And because you're a millionaire, that makes it right? This is the same woman that got on the internet and said she was different from the other baby mamas. No, you're not. Here you are thinking that you've auditioned and that you've secured the role. And that man still got different women on that casting couch. Cam Newton and Nick Cannon are deeply troubled. They think if I just give her money and she's well taken care of, then she's fine. What about the day-to-day of raising the child? That's what I say. Some men don't want to be fathers. They want you to be a mother. How is you writing a check the same as you raising a child? Then he got the nerve to say you waiting on God. You haven't stopped moving yet. I'm sure God is up there ready to throw his sandal at you.
So a lot of people have been talking about Cam Newton and Nick Cannon's interview. And they both just had an interview in the same week that's pretty similar. Both of them basically sat down in the interview and said, listen, we rich as fuck and we want as many kids as we can have with as many as beautiful women, baby mamas as we can have because we can afford it. Now, is that reckless to just be out here making babies because you can afford it? Absolutely. First of all, this isn't a black thing. This is a millionaire thing. Rich men do this shit all the time. The women that was interviewing them was way too worried about them influencing other men to do shit like this. And I'm like, that's not going to happen because we not walking around with $100 million in the fucking bank. Like, niggas is out here making $20 an hour. We trying to do everything in our power to make you not have the baby. What the fuck? Also, let's not act like these women that they are impregnating are not signing up for this shit, because they are. These rich ass men are basically seeing these beautiful ass women walking up to them and saying, hey, you're pretty enough to be my baby mom. Would you like to? I'll pay you. I'll pay you for the rest of your life. I'll pay you child support for the rest of your life. At least for the next 18 years. And the women are like, yeah, sure, why not? I get to be a rich baby mama. Shit, why not? Let's stop acting like we don't all know plenty of women that's down to be a rich baby mama. But it seems like what nobody's understanding is that everybody gets what they want except for the fucking child. The rich man gets another baby with beautiful DNA. The woman gets a baby by a rich man and gets to treat her child like a check for the next 18 years. And it's really sad because the child just becomes the product of a father that just wanted a baby by a pretty girl and a mother that just didn't want to work.
I'm going to say one thing about that Cam Newton and Nick Cannon interview, and I'm going to leave it at this because I'm not even trying to make this about like no war on black men or nothing like that. I respected everything about that woman and how she handled herself in those conversations because I couldn't have done it. But I'm going to say this and I'm going to be done with it. I really, 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 really wish that was a conversation between 2 black men. Everything that she did and said was 10 out of 10. Give her 10s, actually. But I just feel like that's a conversation, and I feel like those were things that another black man should have been telling the both of them. And I just hate that conversations like that are oftentimes led by black women when sometimes it's not received in the same way as them hearing it from a black man. And I'm going to leave it at that, and I'm going to be done because I don't got time for the angry black men in my comments. I love y'all, and I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not even responding to no negativity.
Cam Newton and Nick Cannon are the same person. This is the stuff that they're saying on the internet, okay? And I don't understand why this is a topic. I really don't, because you know somebody who is in them same shoes. Like, obviously their problems is more public, so everybody knows about it and it's on the forefront. But yeah, obviously they got some issues that they haven't dealt with. Obviously, we can see it with the kids and the baby mamas. But I don't understand why people are shocked and why people are making this a big thing, because we don't need to be glorifying this. Like, this is, and I'm not saying nobody's glorifying it, but this is just annoying to keep seeing, because it's like, okay, he has X amount of kids, X amount of baby mamas. I'm pretty sure you could walk in the hood and figure that out. Like, you know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense to me, like, why we're talking about this. Like, okay, so what are we gonna do about it? Like, we can't do anything about it. We can't help them. They don't want to be saved. Like, we can't do anything. Obviously, people have tried to talk to them and they do not hear to understand. So, like, hopefully over time they get understanding and change, but that has to be their option. That has to be they have to want to change. We obviously can see that there are some ground-rooted things going on to make them keep repetitively choosing this type of lifestyle. So talking about it online is like, for what? Like, literally, for what? All you need to focus on right now is not being one of them girls. That's all you need to focus on. For real, because there's a lot of stuff going on in this world. Is people having babies outside of wedlock, and people getting HIV, and people getting herpes, okay? You need to be worrying about them things, okay? Mm-hmm.
I just saw that video everyone's talking about of Cam Newton talking to Dr. Cheyenne Bryant about how he has 8 children by 3 different women and still wants to get married. And he doesn't see anything wrong with that because he thinks that he is a great father and provider for all of his 8 children. And I want to pose a different perspective on the issue because that's messed up, and I think we all know that. Number one, no amount of money in the world can buy you time. And a lot of these people we idolize that are good at sports or good at music or whatever, every hour we see them playing in a basketball game, sitting on a podcast, whatever, are hours they're spending not raising their children. Just because you're paying the bills and your kids go to a nice school and drive a nice car and wear nice clothes does not mean you're raising them. A broken home is a broken home, whether it's an apartment or a mansion. And social media has us all messed up because we can see videos of these men giving their kids these beautiful birthday presents and parties and blah, blah, and we're like, damn, he's a great dad. But they don't be raising them kids. No amount of money can buy you more than 24 hours in a day. And you expect me to believe that you spent 2 hours sitting on a podcast couch talking about your kids and you're somehow still physically present and there for every single one of them? You're raising all of them. And the part that frustrates me the most is nobody has empathy for the mothers of these children. I see comments all the time that are like, ooh, this girl got pregnant by an NBA player, like she's got it made, like she's set for life. Not even understanding that carrying and delivering a child has so much effect on the female body. Just because they're not clocking into a 9-to-5 job does not mean that they're not spending so many hours a day breastfeeding, taking care of these children physically and emotionally, picking them up and taking them to school, taking them to soccer practice, cooking, cleaning. That is not a lifestyle we should be glamorizing or encouraging. There are plenty of children who are raised in broken homes who have great lives, but that's not cute. Any child that's raised in a dynamic where the mother or the father is not physically present is going to have trauma. Kids are not accessories. Stop getting people pregnant when you don't want to sleep in the same house as their mother and be there with them when they wake up and eat breakfast with them every morning. Why are we doing that? And could you imagine sitting up at home raising some man's kids and he's out here on podcasts telling the world that he wants to marry someone that is not you? And the fact that you're gonna have to explain that to your kids one day. And on top of that, he says he wants to have more. Why don't you focus on the children you already got?
This Cam Newton interview, wow. This is what needed to be said. I am so glad. It's like a can of worms. To listen to this man respectfully, Cam Newton is an accomplished footballer, okay? This is not just anybody. This is someone who is accomplished. Saying that he is not going to get married just yet, even though he has 3 baby mamas and 8 children, and that he wants more children, okay, of which he has no intention of being there and raising these children. He is willing to damage more souls. He's willing to damage more women This is a conversation, and not to just pin it on him, because this mindset that he has, he didn't just get it from anywhere. This is ingrained within the community of men that look like this, that this is their mindset, that they are going to produce children, they're going to be successful financially, and they are not going to get married. It is crazy, and I'm glad that she has this conversation, and he is not the only one. This is, and the reason I'm so happy too is because people love judging black women and calling, you know, oh, you're a single mom and blah, 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 as if we chose. This is what we're dealing with. This is the mindset that we're dealing with. And for you young girls and next generation that's coming up, this is the burden that's being placed on your back. We that are raising this generation of men and women, we have to teach them much better to stop this generational trauma and these curses. This is the wrong mindset. Like, you are accomplished. The type of life and the impact that your family can make in your lifetime, but yet you can't because you don't understand how to make commitment. Jane Aiko, accomplished. Same thing. Like, this is toxic. This is not normal. And we're looking at it with the Cardi B's and the Offsets, and we're watching the display of toxicity that's happening within our community. What do you think, those of us who nobody knows anything, what do you think we're dealing with? That he just got a 9-to-5 job making $120K a year, and he thinks he's God's gift, and so he needs to spread his seed and his legacy. It's toxic. This is not how you build a community. This is how you tear down your community. And when a man like Cam Newton steps up and says something like that, what do you think the other men are saying to themselves? It's insane. And I'm glad that this conversation is being talked about. It's toxic. It's insane. You're just traumatizing those children.
Ladies, we got to start living by new rules, right? Never give legacy to a man that has not given honor to your name. Let this whole Cam Newton thing be a lesson. That whole living girlfriend life, that whole baby mama life, because while he is trying to figure out who his wife is, while he has 8 children with 3 women, and he still doesn't know who he wants to marry, who he wants to settle down with, but he's still getting legacy. Legacy, children are a legacy. He's still getting, he's benefiting from all of these women. And these women are the ones that are sacrificing their lives and their freedom to raise these children while he's still out looking for another wife or looking for another baby mama. Hopefully a wife. Maybe he'll get a wife, maybe not. He don't care either way, right? There's no honor in that. I don't know what is in, I don't know what is in the steak and lobster these men are taking y'all out and feeding y'all. But no ma'am, no ma'am. Do not live with men that's not your husband. Don't give children to a man that is not your husband. Saying that you are still looking for a wife while you have 8 children with 3 women, none of them were good enough to be your wife. None of them were good enough to be your wife, and that's good enough for you as a woman. For what? Because you get your little apartment paid for? Never give legacy to a man that has not given honor to your name.
One of the takeaways that I have from that Cam Newton, Dr. Bryant segment, men have a hard time, and this is what I'm realizing, men with the mics on those podcasts who have an issue with women have a hard time with the high value, low function conversation. My guy, Cam, I mean, right over the dreads, my guy. They have a hard time thinking that women will date low value men versus high value men because they feel like the money qualifies them to buy and get everything they want, even a woman. So for them, it's a hard concept to connect the dots and believing, just like Dr. Cheyenne Bryant said, no, women will date low value men, high functioning low value men. Because one, women are outpacing men in value because we have higher education, we're getting paid more. That's all the value means, like financial value, but low functioning decisions, you know, wanting your person to take your toxicity because you're high value, low functioning. Not happening, buddy. And the concept of that, with a lot of men, they're like, oh no, they would never do that. They don't do that. They don't do that. You're not gonna see out in public with them. She's like, yes, I have. Like, I was on the red carpet with him. Well, how was the sex? I mean, it was decent. I mean, it ain't the best, but it wasn't like, oh well, see, like he was high functioning, and then he used that, you know, other word to make it seem like it was because of the D that she was staying with him, even though he didn't have a lot of money. Like, see, we're going back to low functioning behavior, low functioning ways of thinking, Cameron. Low functioning ways of thinking, Cameron. But him and Nick Cannon have the same low functioning behaviors. If you didn't get nothing out of that interview, high value, low functioning. You got women with high value, low functioning, because every time you try to hold them accountable, they want to have a temper tantrum and want to storm out. But because you think you got money, that somebody got to pull up with your mess. Baby, money ain't the problem for women, because I can show you how to make money. That ain't nothing. So to have a high functioning, low value, man, low value is temporary. Low functioning, now that could be a lifetime.
I definitely got to touch on this Cam Newton situation, because I was a fan of Cam Newton throughout his whole career. I remember living in Charlotte between 2008 and 2012 when Cam Newton was drafted to the Carolina Panthers. I had every jersey, every nightgown that was Carolina Panthers Cam Newton. So I am a big fan. But let me tell you, that interview with Dr. Bryant was no surprise to me at all. And I'm going to tell you why. So if you didn't know the backstory with Cam Newton and his first baby mama, his baby mama was a stripper in Charlotte. Cam had just been drafted to the Charlotte Panthers. I believe he is younger than her, and she was a single mom to one daughter. So actually, when he first got with her, because he was so fine back then, I'm not a fan of the dreads, but he was so fine back then. I kind of appreciated him getting a single mom out the strip club, because I felt like, you know, he don't care what people think. He's doing his own thing. Love is love. Let's proceed. Now, instead of him pulling her from the strip club, which he knew that was her only means of income, she was an exotic dancer. That was her only means of income. She's a single mom. Instead of you pulling her from the strip club and girlfriending her or wifey her up, and putting her through school, letting her become a lawyer, letting her become a doctor, pursue her education. Instead, y'all kept having baby after baby after baby after baby. So at 1, 2, 3, 4, you know you're going to have to financially support this lady for the rest of her life, because she didn't go back to school and get advanced education. So my thing is, he is so proud of claiming that it's not a broken home, but it is a broken home, because at the end of the day, I don't know if she's moved to Atlanta, but last time I checked, she was in Charlotte with the kids and he was in Atlanta. He opened up a restaurant in Atlanta, got the side chick pregnant while he was still in a relationship with her. The side chick lived upstairs from his Goodfellas restaurant. Still does, if I'm not mistaken. Last time I heard, that's what Atlanta Street says. She still does live upstairs from Goodfellas restaurant for easy access. So that's the second broken home. You wasn't even with her for long. And then here pops up a new girlfriend, Jazzy, and you have a new baby with her. Every relationship does not equate to a baby. You know what that tells me? It screams broken. Now, are other people broken? Are we all broken? Yes, we are. But for you to leave a lady with 4 additional kids besides the one she already had as a single mom and not wife her is not gentleman qualities. That's like some hood rat shit.
All right, happy Monday, members. I literally just watched the Cam Newton, Dr. Bryant clip. They just came across my TikTok, and I was going to call a friend about it, but we're going to yap right here, because I got like a couple points. Pretty much to anybody who haven't watched it, it's Cam Newton pretty much having his thoughts and probating being a part of the Elon Musk and Nick Cannon fraternity of, because I'm rich, I don't know the concept of time, so I'm just going to make a lot of kids because I want to, and that'll make me a good father. Which leads to my point number 1. Why are we keep normalizing broken homes in our community? Why are we allowing it to happen? Even from a woman's standpoint, like dealing with men just like this who having kids just for their fantasy. Like pretty much Cam Newton got on that interview and pretty much said that, yeah, he already got 8 kids with 3 different women, but he's willing to have more kids without committing to anybody Just for what? And we don't know why the reason that he's doing this. I don't think he even said it. To me, it's just to live out a fantasy. And one also too, Cam Newton, he is that dude, but obviously there is an identity crisis at hand, and the only way to just keep a level of power dynamics is putting the seed definitely in a woman that you don't know, to keep it up, just to feel whatever ego that you may have. Bro obviously got needs to just feel wanted, and except for sitting down with like a therapist and getting that trauma worked out, like he's putting that trauma on kids and not dealing with the repercussions of it. And that's insane. Like, that's so unfair to the children that's already here and the future children, that they gotta look on podcasts in the future and just see that their dad is just wanting to have kids just because, and they really don't even take care or really even like their moms. Like, that's already starting like emotional trauma on a kid just because whatever. I don't care how much money they have. And the worst thing is, some of y'all niggas don't even have money and think the same way as Cam. Like, yeah, at least bro got money for sure, but bro, like, some of y'all just and this is my last point. This is the point that actually made me want to do this video to begin with, but I had a 3-minute little prelude to it, so let's cook right now. I realize now more than ever that society allows men to be immature at a later stage in life with less judgment in comparison to women. And one, that mindset hurt, because that don't mean that when they finally get to that mature age that they actually mature. You just older, bro. You just got more wisdom because you've been through more stuff. Don't mean that you actually wise. That's one. And two, ultimately, that just hurt children and women in the beginning.
There was a part of the Dr. Brian interview with Cam Newton that I really loved, and I feel like a lot of us don't realize we're doing it. And let me tell you what it is. She was asked, from him, is there any type of healthy relationship that you have seen, that you witnessed, that you want to emulate? Like, that is what you want for your relationship. And she kept telling him, no, there is not a single healthy relationship that I see, that I've been a witness of for what I know, that I want. And the reason why she kept saying that is, not only is it, what God has for me is for me, and I want what is for me, but it's also, I don't know what's going on in that relationship fully. I know what they show me. I know what I have access to, but I don't know what is going on behind closed doors. Nobody truly knows what's going on behind closed doors. And I feel like with her saying that, and I'm a person that believes in power of the tongue, I feel like a lot of times when we are on social media and we see these couples and we see them going on trips and the boyfriend's doing this, or if we see these girls and they're living like this or living, a lot of times we'll be like, I want what she got, girl. I want a relationship like you. And you don't know, Pookie. You have no idea what that relationship really is like, because we're seeing what they're allowing us to see, for the most part. So now in your life is going crazy, and you like, why is this happening? Because you didn't ask for what they have. You didn't ask for what this lady got going on in her life, but you don't even know what's coming with it. We gotta stop that. We gotta stop trying to have what others have, because what they have is not meant for you, and you probably don't even want it.
Why didn't nobody tell me that Cam Newton was 35? Cam Newton is 35. A recent 35. That's a hard 35. Trying to populate the world right along with Nick Cannon must be stressful work. I thought he was like at least 47. I'm not even joking. I'm not trying to be funny. I literally thought he was 47.
A lot of people had issues with some of the things that Cam Newton and Nick Cannon were saying. Now, one of the issue that people had with Cam Newton was the fact that Cam Newton, who just had his 8th child with Jasmine Brown, still talked about the fact that he wanted more children and insinuated that it might not even be the 3 baby mamas that will have the other children that he wants. He was also insinuating that out of the 3 baby mamas, he has not really found the person that he wants to marry that will allow him to get over his fear of getting divorced or something like that. And another thing people were also having issue with was the fact that he didn't want to acknowledge that its lifestyle encourages broken families and can have an impact on the kids as they are growing up and when they become adults. Now, Nick Cannon was talking about the fact that he has been manipulative in a way with some of the women he has been with. He also talked about the fact that he has not really found someone that is evenly yoked with. Immediately I heard that, I was like, I think the only person that was a bit on his standard and a bit above was Mariah Carey. But Mariah Carey doesn't want to involve herself in the whole nonsense that he brings. Like, he even said that when he was with Mariah Carey, he never cheated because he felt like he was on the same standard with her. But I'm like, boy, she was above you, because she's not dealing with all this nonsense. But a lot of people were also talking about the fact that the women that are with Nick Cannon, Cam Newton, and the people that like to have multiple children with multiple baby mamas are women that don't value themselves and the rest. I don't want to talk about those parts. But when I was watching the podcast with Nick Cannon and Cam Newton, the podcast that Dr. Brian had with the both of them, I was just looking at it and just thinking, I don't know if this kind of situation is better than the polygamous homes and families that are common in Africa, Nigeria. Now, for those who don't know, I'm an indirect product of a polygamous family. Indirect because my grandfather was polygamous. So he had about 7 wives that we know of. We don't know how many women he had, but we can say 7 wives. And he had about 26 children that my mom is part of. And unlike in the US and wherever they're having multiple baby mamas and multiple babies without any marriage or anything, while in the US with the baby mama situation, the mothers are with their kids and they might be in different houses in different states. But in a polygamous home, in a polygamous relationship or marriage or whatever, most times the women, the children, and the husband and the father are staying in the same place. So they might be in a big house and the women and the kids are in like different rooms and the man is in his own room. Or they might be in a big compound with different houses and the women with their own kids are in the houses. So they might be doing roster, whatever, of who is going to stay with the husband, who is going to cook for the husband. But the whole lifestyle, for those who have been in it, it's really like toxic. It's really like toxic, especially in the African setting where diabolical means are being used, because each wife is trying to be the favorite wife, is trying to be the one that is favored so that their kids are favored and they are giving things and they are taken care of. So there's always fighting, there's always diabolical means sent to each other, there's always a lot of things. Personally, like I said, I'm just an indirect product, but I never was in that situation. But my mom and her siblings were in that situation. And unlike how Nick Cannon and Cam Newton are saying they're taking care of their kids, each baby mama and their kids are kind of happy and the rest, it doesn't really like happen a lot in most polygamous homes in Africa or Nigeria. Like a situation that occurred with my mom and her siblings. Now, because each wife is trying to fight for things for their kids, and there are some people that will be stronger in achieving their goals, and some people that are stronger in using diabolical means. Some people, the women that are not as strong as that, if they don't hustle themselves, they are going to find a situation where their kids are going to be lacking. Now, one of the things that my grandmother, one of my grandfather's wives, wanted for our own kids was that they will go to school, they will have college education, they will have a university education. So she was really like determined that they would do that, even with my grandfather, who was supposed to be very rich and have businesses, was not like involving himself or like providing enough for them to get an education. So she used to do her own hustle. And one of the things that kind of affected my mom's relationship with her father was the fact that At one point in time, he tried to stop her from going to school. Actually, they said he went to her school, tried to get the principal and everything to kick her out, but it didn't happen. As God will have it, she was able to get into a prestigious university. She hustled because my mom said she used to travel to London, buy things, sell. The hustling spirit was strong with my mom, and I think it's strong with me because of my mom and my grandmother, or maybe it's my grandfather. I don't even know. Any which way, she used to do things that decide to earn money. My grandmother too was doing things that decided to send her children to school. It was hard, but God did it because my mother graduated from the university. She graduated from the University of Ife, Obafemi Awolowo University, and she graduated with a Bachelor of Pharmacy. So she was a pharmacist. And I did not understand how enormous that feat was until after my grandmother died. I think my auntie saw my mom's graduation picture because I had it. And she was not saying that that day that my grandmother was very, very, very happy because out of the 26 kids, my mom was the first university graduate. The person that they tried to stop from going to school came out with a Bachelor of Pharmacy, was a pharmacist. Now, pharmacy at that time was a big thing. Pharmacy at this time is a big thing. So to be a pharmacist, after you were almost stopped from going to school, oh, it's just amazing. But anyway, that whole situation is what happens in quite a lot of polygamous homes. If the mothers are not strong enough to stand and try and say, okay, my kids, you are going to be better. I'm going to do what I can do to make you better. A lot of them will end up in a situation that is just terrible. The whole childhood trauma, everything is just a mess. There's so much toxicity, so much envy, and a lot of things. Like, I did not know I had so many half aunties and half uncles until my mother died and we were burying her, and I was seeing so many people and I was like, who are you? Because the relationship was not really like there per se for us that were the grandchildren. For the children, they still try to be meeting up. They've grown older and they just realize that life is not like that. But for us that were separated, we did not know what was going on because they grew up with so many things. I've heard so many stories. How they used to fight, how they used to, and the men that believe in having multiple women and multiple children usually don't understand the things that goes on with the women and their children. So Nick Cannon and Cam Newton and the rest are feeling, oh, they are being good fathers, they are being good providers and the rest, but they don't understand how that the whole dysfunction dynamics can affect the children. Now, like I said, the polygamous homes, sometimes the fathers don't really like provide for the mothers and the children. So when I see Cam Newton and Nick Cannon, and I see that their baby mamas are not really like fighting them and saying all sorts, and are kind of chill in a way, especially Nick Cannon, because it seems like all the baby mamas are satisfied with the whole arrangement, and it seems like he provides for them. I really have to give them kudos for doing that because, like I said, from the polygamous setting that most times we see, the men don't really provide the way Nick Cannon does. So for him to at least provide enough for the baby mamas to be okay and still want to be giving birth to kids for him, it's something I can say they are trying. I can't say it's a good thing because the whole dynamic is not a good thing, but at least they're trying in that area. But the whole concept, the whole thing is not ideal. Having multiple baby mamas and multiple children, having multiple wives, and the whole polygamous thing is not ideal in my own opinion. because the whole concept of having multiple kids with multiple women, either the baby mama situation or the polygamous situation, doesn't really allow for a healthy childhood. In my own opinion, it leads to like childhood trauma that can also affect them when they are adults. But I don't know. Like I said, I don't think both situations are ideal. But I also want to find out what the mindset of men that believe in this kind of things are, because a lot of them will just say, since I can provide for them financially, for the baby mamas, for the kids, it's okay, that there's no problem. I really want to understand what they feel like. Now for the women, some of them just want to be comfortable. Honestly, some of them use these children as a way to live a comfortable life. Some don't mind. A lot of women that don't mind to be second, third, or fourth wives as long as they are being taken care of and the rest. But I feel like at the end of the day, it's going to impact on their children negatively. But some will say that it doesn't really impact on the children negatively. I don't know what you guys think about this whole situation. Do you think it's an ideal thing for rich men like Nick Cannon and Cam Newton to have multiple baby mamas, multiple wives, in the case of the polygamous relationship, and multiple children? I would just love to hear your thoughts about this whole situation. So please leave your comment in the comment section so that we can get this discussion popping. Now, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you are not yet subscribed and you like videos such as this, please consider subscribing by clicking on the red button that says subscribe, and don't forget to click on the bell notification icon by the side so that you're notified anytime I upload videos. Now, with all that said, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.